Yo, Boston Celtics fans, what's going on? Welcome into Celtics Today by Chat Sports. You got Allie Barefoot here, producer Smitty to my left as well. And nope, there is no basketball game. This is our first live show on Celtics Today. Going to be breaking down three main topics on this show. We're going to jump into all that fun stuff in just a few moments. But happy to have all you guys here. I know it's about 4 p.m. on the East Coast right now. Some of you guys are just getting off work. Some of you guys work from home. But some of you guys just want to find out what's happening with the Boston Celtics. So I do want to let you guys know the latest on everything surrounding your favorite team heading into the NBA Finals. And more importantly, I want to have some fun with you guys. Told the bosses, I was like, look, we've got another week before the NBA Finals. I got to go live. I got to talk to the people. I got to let them know what's going on, considering we still don't even know who the Celtics are playing in the championship just yet. Of course, the Dallas Mavericks have Game 5 tonight against the Timberwolves after they did force another Game 4. So, with that being said, I got a ton of people already in the chat. Smitty and I were talking. We're like, we know the real ones are going to be here. We know it. Day or night, they're going to come join. Now we got 60 people already in the chat. Titus Kitchen, Boston Bob, Devin Armstrong, JMP Twins, just to name a few. All right, a little preview here for what we're doing on today's show. Going to be giving you guys the latest on Kristaps Porzingis and his injury update, what Joe Mazzulla is saying, what also Kristaps Porzingis is saying, and also on the back half of that, we're going to talk about what Joe Mazzulla has been prepping the Celtics for the finals, how he's been doing it regardless of who they're playing. And then we're also going to have a mailbag section here. Of course, want to hear from you. We can take your questions at any point in this show. All you guys have to do is use hashtag Celtics or Super Chat. That way we can pull it up on screen. If you guys have a question about the Boston Celtics ahead of the finals, the injury report, all the media hate the Celtics have been getting, whatever, go on ahead, ask us a question using hashtag Celtics. And then the back half of this show, we are going to talk about, is the pressure more so on Tatum or Brown to win Banner 18 after Jaylen Brown just won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP? Is he now starting to step up and get the limelight that he should be deserving? Or is Jayson Tatum, who could possibly be the next face of the NBA, really on the hot seat right now to win the finals? That's on tap for our show here. Let's go on ahead and get the comment section rolling, shall we? Spam your shams. Spam your shams. Let's get it rolling. I got Kristen, Brian, Diana, Myers, JMP Twins, KP. I got Weston, Scottish Captain saying, yo, Ninja Gaming, Muad, Boston Bob in here as well. And I got Smith Dog who's spamming his shams here for Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to come hang out with us, have a good time, and of course, as always, talk to you guys about the Boston Celtics. See a lot of shams. I don't think we still understand the difference between shams and clovers here in the chat, but I'm not mad.
Maybe some people are on Android or something, and they don't have the 3-leaf clover.
That's wild.
And you know they gotta stick to the 4-leaf gang. All shamrocks matter. We're taking all shamrocks here. Clover,
we don't
shamrocks,
discriminate.
Irish leaves, green leaves of some sort. Make the chat green, make it bleed green. Let's go like we do.
No discrimination here. Spam your clovers, spam your shams. But shamrocks do have 3 leaves, and clovers do have 4. So if you just wanted a little fun fact there for you guys, when we say spam your shams, it is, of course,
We're
the 3.
scientists.
Oh, Scottish Cabbage said, F you, Smitty.
What?
Android has a 3-leaf clover.
My bad. That's on me.
That's crazy. Thought you knew shit.
I don't know. I don't know Droid. I don't know Droid, man.
Oscar saying, I'd rather listen to ESPN. That's why you're a real one here, Oscar. We appreciate you. Personally, I think we're a little bit more fun, but you know, it is what it is. I got Maya's World, Ron in here from the Philippines. Appreciate you, Ron, jumping in. The King of Randomness, Beantown, J Money 25, 2 other real ones jumping back into the chat, which we do appreciate you guys as always, hitting up about 80 viewers as of right now. So we've never done a live show on here, so I'm really excited to see like what the audience looks like, what you guys want to do, what you guys want to say. So this would be super interesting. This is actually kind of a preview for what you're going to be getting in the offseason. We're going to start doing more live shows once a week in the offseason because you guys love watch parties so much. Of course, there will be no Celtics basketball, so we want to talk to you guys. We'll have a watch party once a week coming up in the offseason. All right, here's a big question for you guys ahead of Game 5 tonight, Mavericks versus Timberwolves. Who would you rather play in the finals? Of course, all odds are pointing towards the Mavericks. They're up 3-1. right now. However, the Timberwolves just slided by in Game 4 to be able to go back to Minnesota. I don't know, Smitty, if there's really any gas left in that tank or if that was just a bad Kyrie shooting night that they took advantage of. So I could see maybe being back in Minnesota gives you a little extra edge there, but you're going to need another 30-point game from Ant if you want something to happen.
No doubt about it. You know, you think about the Timberwolves, right? Everybody thinks that they may have exhausted all their energy against the Nuggets, and that showed over the first 3 games of this series. But then every one of those games is tight. It's coming down to the wire, and these are close battles that the Mavericks and the Timberwolves are going through. Now the Timberwolves have seen one go in. They've gotten one off of their backs, and now they're going home to Minnesota tonight, right? It's a perfect opportunity to make it 3-2. Yep. Next thing you know, you're in Dallas, and like they're starting to feel the pressure. They're starting to feel the heat on them a little bit to not choke the series away like Miami almost did against us last year. And then who knows? Timberwolves win a Game 6. Then a Game 7, anything can happen. Literally anything can happen. It's one game advancing to the NBA Finals. I'm fine with whatever matchup that we get. I do hope these teams tire themselves out a little bit, though, and go as long as possible.
That's, I think, what all Celtics fans are looking for. It's like, hey, man, Mavericks, don't matter. Timberwolves, don't matter. Giving us a rest? Well, that matters.
That matters.
And it was funny because Coop, who is the host of the Mavericks Report,
Mavericks Today.
Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. He and Harry Graham, obviously Coop, lifelong Mavericks fan. He was like, no team in NBA history has been up 3-0 and ended up losing that Western Conference Finals. So Chase,
any series in the playoffs.
Any series,
never happened.
And Chase Sr., host of the 76ers Report, he comes over and he goes, oh, it was the first time for everything there, Coop. So you never know.
First time for everything. We want Coop to sweat a little bit. We want him to feel the pressure heading into what could be a Game 6 in Dallas, man. Depending on what happens tonight.
I had Timberwolves winning in 7. So if this is the path it takes them to win in 7, although I do think Celtics fans want Mavericks because they want Kyrie.
Yeah.
It
would be nice
Kyrie.
for a couple of reasons. Obviously, we'll get into it later this week. But like the storylines behind the Mavericks series, you got KP versus Luka. You have Kyrie versus the Celtics. You also have Tatum versus Luka too, which is a debate in some people's minds. Some people might have Luka higher than Tatum. Some Celtics fans, I think, would be in the minority to believe that Tatum is above Luka. I go back and forth. I think it's a much closer gap than people think, but that would help settle or at least close the gap on a lot of those debates too.
For sure. Do we need to tell people about our friends?
I don't. That is up to you. I don't think it's not scripted, so I don't think so.
It is our sponsor.
It is a live sponsor. Is it the old Peyton Pritchards? Or is it the old Eastern Conference Finals guys?
It is the Peyton Pritchards.
It's the Peyton Pritchards.
Yes.
Okay.
For the live. Let me double check real quick, make sure. Yeah, it's PPs.
Then let's talk about our friends at not Peyton Pritchards, our friends at Prize Picks.
All right, let's talk about Prize Picks, shall we? Prize Picks is our sponsor here on Celtics Today. If you guys just listen to Smitty and I talk back and forth in code, but I'll tell you what, there is no secret about Prize Picks and how fun it is. It's the #1 daily fantasy sports app in America, and I am playing it every single day. I'm telling you what, every time I log on my app, they have a new promotion. I mean, they're like tempting me with a good time, and I very rarely say no. So here is my Prize Picks for tonight's game, because when I saw the promotion going on, because the WNBA is still rolling, they're still having a good time, and I have a $20 protected play for the WNBA here, courtesy of our friends over at Prize Picks. So I do have Agumake having more than 19.5 points. I got Cameron Brink having more than 6.5 rebounds with the LA Sparks, and Caitlin Clark to have more than 3 3-pointers made. Here are my Prize Picks for tonight's game. You guys can go on ahead and make your own. Plus, you have an opportunity to turn $10,000. You have an opportunity to turn $10 into $1,000 just by doing this. Picking more or less on a player's projected stats. That is all you guys have to do. Minimum 2 players, maximum 6 players, and you can play in over 30 states as well, including Georgia, California, and Texas. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. I promise it's that easy. Thank you for adjusting to that.
Of course.
All right.
What do you guys think? KP playing in game 1?
I don't know.
I'm going to be the pessimist here, as I usually am on this show. No, he's not. I don't think he is. I don't think we've gotten sufficient enough updates to where I feel encouraged about Kristaps Porzingis playing in Game 1. I mean, maybe. Now, I do have a theory about this. I was thinking about this last night. And every update that has come out from the Kristaps Porzingis injury has come from Adrian Wojnarowski, the shout-out St. Bonaventure, the Bonaventure alum, the senior NBA insider at ESPN. He is, if you talk about basketball circles, he is more tapped in with front offices, organizations, and people who are making basketball decisions. Shams Charania, who many people think is his rival, is way more tapped in with the players themselves who feed him information. Obviously, GMs and teams feed Shams information as well, but it's more so Woj's territory in that regard. Could the Celtics kind of be playing a bit of a smokescreen game with Porzingis and the fact that, Joe Mazzulla is not saying anything about it. He's saying, I have no idea. Obviously, he has an idea. Obviously, he knows what's going on with the third best player on his team. So maybe the Celtics are saying that all started with him, the initial announcement, right? A minimum of several games. I feel like they're trying to be coy about this and not really give away too much whether or not he is playing in the finals. I think that could lead to him being ready to suit up for Game 1, but just based on what the public has seen so far, I'm not too optimistic.
I want to be optimistic. I really do. Because you have to think about how long it's been. It's been a month since he did tweak that calf, but obviously everybody's a little bit different here. And when you go back to what Giannis said, that even at 4 weeks, he was still trying to get to 50% on running. But once again, everybody is different. I don't know if it's going to be Game 1. Do I think that's the entire finals? No, I don't. I love his little coded tweet the other day when he said, see you in the finals. I mean, I like to take that. Oh, I probably read into it a little bit too much. I read into everything.
I was reading that too. I was like, what does he mean here? Does he mean I'm playing in the final? He said, I'll be back in line soon.
I'm going to read what I want to read. And I read he's playing. So that's how I interpreted it. But obviously that's very vague, but I was almost like, you hinted at something there, KP. So I do think he will play in the finals. Game 1, I mean, if I had to put my paycheck on it, I'd say no.
I'd say no. And I'd be glad to lose that paycheck. I'd be glad to lose that paycheck and be wrong.
Well, we know you would.
No,
we'll talk about that later.
I'll have an action.
All right, we are going to break down the latest on Kristaps Porzingis here in just a few moments. Let's go on ahead and talk about Alex Diardo, though. Coming in. Actually, am I saying his last name right?
I have been meaning to tell you this for a long time.
What is it?
It's Didario.
Didario?
I think so. That yes.
Diodario? Or do you think it's
It could be Diodario, but I think it's Didario.
Alex Diardo.
There's actually an actress, and forgive me, Alex, because she's a female, but her name is Alexandra Daddario.
Daddario?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's spelled the exact same way. Let me take a quick look, but I know her name is not Diodardo. Alexandria.
I've been saying Alex Diardio.
Okay, so she doesn't have her issue is she don't have the.
You are right, Smitty.
She don't have the. I was right. Let's go.
So what is it? Diario?
Daddario.
Daddario?
Daddario.
Okay, Alex. Holy cow.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. It just rolls off the tongue. Alex Diardo.
Yeah.
What is it?
Alex Daddario.
Daddario. Okay, so I just got to move that D up a little bit. All right.
That's right.
Alex Daddario coming in with a $10 super chat.
We appreciate you, Alex.
Let's get it done this year. Go Celtics, go forever. Mateo says hi to you and Smitty. Shout out to Mateo. Shout out to Alex Daddario. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
All right. It's going to take me a little while. Smitty and I were just talking about how I'm terrible with names. So I finally got to read it. I don't think I've ever actually read your last name in entirety. All right. Appreciate you in here, Alex. All right, one more thing before we get started on our first segment on today's show. We got 62 people watching, which we do appreciate. All 62 of you guys taking your time out of your day on Thursday to come watch us. Hit that like button if you guys are here, though. Let us see it loud and proud. Let's see if we can at least get to 50 likes. You're at 32 right now, 69 viewers. Very nice. So go on ahead, hit that thumbs up button for me if you're ready to start the finals, if you're ready for Kristaps Porzingis to be healthy, if you guys just love the Boston Celtics, if you're happy it's Thursday, Friday Junior, do everything you can. Just hit that thumbs up button for me, because I promise the more that you hit that thumbs up button, the more people find this show, the more people do come in as they're getting off work. Maybe they're stuck in traffic. I just saw the craziest thing out our window on the interstate. I had a 18-wheeler completely blocking all 4 lanes because he decided to be sideways, but he was still upright, and he did a full, 90-degree turn. It was wild. So
That is wild.
if you guys are in that traffic right now, I'm sorry, and go on ahead and hit that like button for me.
Hit that like button. Let's get to definitely get to 45 likes here before we start the show here. While we wait, let's tell them again what we have coming up on tap.
We do have the latest injury news coming from Joe Mazzulla himself. We're also going to break down how the Celtics are preparing for the NBA Finals despite knowing who they are going to be playing tonight next week. Mailbag, hashtag Celtics or Super Chat is going to be in the middle of this show. If you guys have a question, go on ahead. I'm going to give you an example here. Will the hashtag Celtics, I spelled Celtics wrong, Celtics win the NBA Finals? There is an example right there in the comment section. Use hashtag Celtics in your question. That way we can pull it up on our system and answer what you guys have to ask. And in the back half of the show, one last thing is the media has been trying to attack Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, trying to pin them against each other. So we're going to be talking about who's the pressure on more, Tatum or Brown, to win Banner 18 and the NBA Finals. That's what we're going to break down here. Thank you guys so much for hitting that like button. Let me get one more, and then Smitty is going to start this show. Of course, you guys can super chat. You can comment. You're going to do whatever. We're going to address all the super chats and the comments. So after we are done talking about Kristaps Porzingis and the latest injury news on your boy.
The fun thing about this is, you guys watch our videos every week, right? You're going to see them happen in real time right now. These videos that we have, when we're talking about all this stuff live, it's going to go up on the channel afterwards. So you guys are getting a first look, sneak peek at this content from Celtics Today. So we really appreciate everybody being here, taking time out of their Thursday to spend some time with us and have some fun.
Let's have some fun, shall we? All right, let's talk about Sengus Pingus. I know a lot of you guys are like, what is going on? Well, Joe Mazzulla did break it down here earlier today, so let's go on ahead and jump into that. All right, I will be ready when you are ready, Smitty.
Word. Let's get into it.
Coming up here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports, we had the latest injury update on Kristaps Porzingis. I know what you guys are thinking. It feels like there's an update every single day. Well, believe it or not, there is, because we are now 1 week away from the NBA Finals. On everybody's forefront, it is whether or not Kristaps Porzingis is going to play in the NBA Finals. Well, why don't I just start this off by asking you guys how you feel, how confident you feel in KP playing for the NBA Finals. Give me your confidence level. 1 as in, heck no, he's done. Rule him out for the rest of the season. 10 being like, he's definitely ready. They're just holding him out. He's definitely going to play. Rate that on a scale 1 through 10. Your confidence level for Kristaps Porzingis' return to the NBA Finals. All right. While you guys are thinking about how confident you are, let's hear from the man himself, Joe Mazzulla, what he had to say to media ahead of today's practices. I haven't seen him doing what he's doing specifically, but he's progressing well, and he's working really hard to get back. Joe is the king of I don't know. And I have a feeling he knows. Because every time you ask Joe, hey, what's the latest on Kristaps Porzingis? I don't know. I just don't know how much I believe that, to be honest. And I get it. It's your coach. You got to protect your players. He has no obligation to actually tell us how Kristaps Porzingis is doing in his injury recovery. That's going to be left up to game time decisions and whether or not KP will be in a uniform and ready to play for the NBA Finals. The one thing that has remained completely consistent since KP got injured to now is that KP said, I want to have a record-breaking recovery. He wants to return as soon as possible. That's what Joe has reiterated time and time again. And the good news is, Porzingis is not the only Boston Celtic that is benefiting from this time off, as they did have 9 days in between the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals. You got to think of other players here too, man. You got to look at Al Horford. What he has done stepping up while KP has been injured has been huge. And now you're about to get Al Horford, regardless of KP playing or not in Game 1, you're going to get 9 days of rest Al Horford. We saw him In Game 5 against the Cavaliers, have one of the best games I've seen in this postseason. Imagine what he can do with 9 days of rest. If Porzingis can't play, Horford is still performing well in the playoffs. But can he do it for one more series? And I'm not comparing the two at all. They're different ages, they're different players. But Al Horford has done a pretty good job of holding down the paint and protecting the rim and scoring around the rim while KP has been out. Of course, he has also adopted that three-point shooting, that three-point scoring, but they are still missing Kristaps Porzingis, and I'm wondering if Al Horford can hold on just a little bit more. Cancun is almost there, buddy, but can you play for one more series? Let's say the Celtics play the Mavericks, right? I'm worried. I'm not going to lie. I'm worried to play the Mavericks without Kristaps Porzingis. I love Big Al. I think he can do the job, but he's not what Kristaps Porzingis is. If you are playing the Dallas Mavericks without Kristaps Porzingis, my biggest concern is rim protection. They've got big boys on that team, and they've got really good playmakers as well. You saw Evan Mobley and Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam and Nembhard dominate around the paint, in the paint, especially around the rim, and it makes me really nervous, especially when you have playmakers like Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving who are Lob City to Daniel Gafford and Lively. The only thing about Lively, though, is that he has not returned yet from his neck injury, so I put an asterisk there because I'm not sure if the Celtics will even see Lively because obviously head injuries are very, very intense. But the Mavericks have several resources here, and with two playmakers like Luka and Kyrie, it's going to be very tough to not have 7'3" standing in their way trying to make something happen. Because they did sweep the Mavericks in the regular season, but they did have Kristaps Porzingis. And you also got to think about how the Celtics did against bigger players here in their journey to the NBA Finals. There were numerous times Derek White got switched on to the big guy, and Derek White is a phenomenal defender. He was second-team all-defensive NBA, and he leads the league in blocks for players under 6'4". That's not the worst defender to have, but it's the mismatch, man. And that can happen several times because we saw Al Horford trying to guard Darius Garland, and we saw Derek White trying to guard Evan Mobley. And there were too many switches going on that I'm afraid are going to happen time and time again, especially with a coach like Jason Kidd is going to try to capitalize on mismatches without Kristaps Porzingis. So, are you worried about Boston in the finals without Porzingis? Because that was just the Mavericks matchup. Because mentally I am prepared to face the Mavericks. But with Game 5 right now happening later today, the Minnesota Timberwolves also have several resources, big men down low, a.k.a. Rudy Gobert, that is going to be a nightmare trying to get through without KP. Comment why or why not you're worried about KP in the finals with or without him. Next, we're going to talk about Joe Mazzulla, who's speaking out about how the Celtics are preparing to take on either the Mavericks or the Timberwolves as well, with or without Kristaps Porzingis. But first things first, let me tell you about Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in America. I'm playing this every single game day, and there are several reasons why you guys should as well. Not only is it extremely easy to use, but it's also super fun as well. I used to never put down money on games. I never really liked it. It wasn't my thing. But then I did find Prize Picks, and my life has been forever changed for the better. I have won over 15 entries. I have won over $500 as well. So if you guys want to go on ahead and play Prize Picks with me, there is great benefits for you here ahead. Here's what WNBA picks I have for today, because Prize Picks actually gave me a fantastic promotion. And here's a $20 protected play for the WNBA. Win or my money back. I have Aguma McKay having more than 19.5 points, Cameron Brink having more than 6.5 boards, and Caitlin Clark, the legend, having more than 3 3-pointers made. You guys can go on ahead and turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. And plus, the finals means more on Prize Picks, and so do star players. You get boosted payouts when you select basketball stars that you won't find anywhere else. And when the finals are over, the hoops action doesn't stop. WNBA is just now getting started, and with all these stars you guys see on my page right now, you could win up to 100 times your money watching them ball out. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It is truly that easy to watch yourself win some real money in real time. 1 week until the NBA Finals. Wow, oh wow, does it feel like a lifetime away. On this day next week, they will be gearing up to face either the Mavericks or the Timberwolves in the first game of the finals in Boston. And because we don't know who we're playing just yet, Joe Mazzulla is ready nonetheless. Here is what he said about the Celtics having to wait to play in the NBA Finals because they now have the longest vacation ahead of the championship. So Joe Mazzulla said anything can be good or bad for you, depending on how you use it. Time could be good. It could be bad. Everything goes into how you use it, how you weaponize it. So we're weaponizing our team right now, and that's it. Between now and June 6th, we had to take every experience that we've been through and make sure we take advantage of it and that we utilize it and put ourselves in the best position to win. I get what he's saying about it could be good, it could be bad. You could have mental barriers, you could have mental blocks waiting for the NBA Finals. I know my anxiety would be through the roof if I knew the NBA Finals was 1 week away. However, these guys are professionals, and they've also had long breaks before, especially in this postseason. They've had 2 separate 6-day breaks in between series in the postseason this year. So they're pretty used to it. And I'm sure they're actually really enjoying it now because I'm sure their bodies were tore up after playing big teams like the Cavs and the Pacers. So now they get the time to rehab their bodies, get ready mentally. And with a coach like Joe Mazzulla, he is preparing them for both teams right now and making sure they're in the best shape as possible. The tricky part of having so much time is not knowing who you're playing yet. I really thought the Mavericks were going to sweep the Timberwolves in Game 4 and the Celtics would have 8 full days to prepare for the Dallas Mavericks. That'd be beautiful. But now you really cannot push off the Timberwolves and start preparing overload to take on the Mavericks depth chart and not even think about Anthony Edwards, Cat, and Rudy Gobert. You have to think ahead as well. So Joe Mazzulla, here's how he's preparing for either team here for the NBA Finals. He said, I'll watch a little bit live, looking for some themes and concepts that I notice. Practice is all about the details and the margins, making sure we get better as a team. Regardless of who wins, we've got to get better. So we're going to do that tomorrow, getting better every single day until June 6th. And I really hope all of these Celtics players have turned off their social media. Because is it just me or is the entire world against the Celtics winning the finals? Maybe I'm being dramatic, but I really do hope that mentally and physically they are ready to go. And it sounds like Joe Mazzulla is first working on the Celtics, making sure they have everything they need to take on whoever in the NBA Finals. Second, then he'll do his research on either the Mavericks or the Timberwolves and adjust accordingly. But the big question is, can the Mavericks win tonight? If the Mavericks win tonight, series is over. Do you think the Mavs will close out the Western Conference Series in Game 5 tonight? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know if you think Luka and Kyrie can get the job done tonight and be done. With the Timberwolves, do you think Anthony Edwards has a little bit up his sleeve in Minnesota here for that team? Go on ahead, comment that down below, and let me know what you guys think. And as always, hit that sub button for me. We will be live for the NBA Finals. I want you guys to be here as well. Hit that sub button for me. I promise you guys will not regret it. All right. Damn, I got a bunch of mixed messages here. Y, N, yes, no. You guys really think the Timberwolves are going to keep going? I definitely think they could too. What's up, J-Man? All right. Next segment that we have on here is our mailbag, which we do have 2 questions in there already, but we got to get a little bit more questions in there as well. So if you want to ask Allie and Smitty a Celtics question on the show, go on ahead and use hashtag Celtics, or feel free to super chat as well. If you super chat, we will automatically answer your question.
Fact.
If you use hashtag Celtics, Smitty is going to pick through the good ones and the bad ones.
I'm the puppeteer here, the puppet master.
I love that song. Obey your master.
Master. Master Puppets Fire song. Shout out Stranger Things.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
It was like Billboard charting because of Stranger Things.
Master. That and if
you really go, make a deal with God.
What is that song?
It's Running Up That Hill by Kate Smith, maybe her name is.
Just because your last name is Smith doesn't mean everybody else's last name is Smith.
It's a 1-syllable thing.
Hold on, don't look it up. Don't look it up. Don't look it up.
I'm gonna remember it too.
Hold on.
Somebody in the chat know?
It's not Smith, but it is Running Up That Hill.
It's
I make a deal with God. Yeah, it's Kate. But it's not Smith.
Is it a one-syllable name?
Yep.
Yeah, right? I knew that. Damn.
I can give you a letter it starts with.
Yeah, give me a letter it starts with.
B. Bush.
Yeah. Fuck! Sorry for cussing.
Weston, phenomenal question, my man. I
That is a great
appreciate you.
question.
Boston! Bob! Oh, coming in with a banger of a question, my guy. We don't talk about him enough. We don't talk about my man Jrue enough, I feel like. Not purposefully.
We'll get this on the mailbag. We'll get this on the mailbag for sure. But in short, Jrue has got to continue what he's doing offensively, which is be in the right spots, make your open threes, and just be a good ball mover. Don't make things so stagnant. And then defensively, got a pretty tough assignment with potentially Kyrie Irving on the other end. And if you can stick on him, then Jrue Holiday could have a chance of Finals MVP if the Celtics end up winning.
I don't think I'd want anybody other than Jrue Holiday though.
I agree.
Maybe one or two players left in the NBA, but Jrue Holiday is probably my top 3 pick to guard Kyrie Irving. In the finals.
Yeah, no doubt about it. As far as
everybody. Yeah.
And the funny thing is Derek White is also in that top 3.
Oh, so good.
So hopefully we'll see those two switch on and off of Kyrie. Whoever has more success will probably stick on him for most of the series, but I imagine it'll be Holiday to open things up.
I'm going to give Drew Cash a green team entry here on the basketball because he spammed BB first, giving Boston Bob some love.
Love that question, Oscar.
Oscar, great question as well. Got some good ones coming in here. You guys are really prepared. Did your homework.
Let's get 2 more questions here, as Eric said Bush. That's funny. Let's get 2 more questions here. So, listen. If you really want to get your question on the show, like Boston Bob has on right now, it'll be posted on YouTube later on. Use hashtag Celtics like he did, or Super Chat. Bob did both because he's a multi-tool player. He just does it all, do-it-all kind of guy. Maya's World, there's a space in between your hashtag and Celtics.
Good question.
Good question.
Just condense it.
Oh,
KW coming in with a Super Chat and hashtag Celtics. Things we love that.
Hell yeah.
KW, which finals challenge scares you more? The Wolves' ability to defend every Celtic on the floor, or how hard Luka Doncic and Kyrie are to guard for White and Jrue?
It's a great question.
Holy cow.
Question.
That is insane. That's a great question. Almost as good as
KW's always got knowledge, so we appreciate you.
And bars.
Oh, man.
Dude, I want Kyrie. I want the Mavericks.
I want the Mavericks. I want to beat the Mavericks too.
I want to beat the Mavericks. Yeah. I'm scared of the Mavericks for sure.
I am more frightened.
I'm afraid of both.
Overall, when you think about NBA Finals series, you basically when winning comes down to at this time of the year is who's got the best player on the floor, and in a lot of cases that has been Luka Doncic. If you look at these two teams head to head and what he's done and how high he has finished in MVP. He's a 5-time first-team All-NBA guy, and what he's also done this postseason, which actually I saw a graphic earlier today. Per 75 possessions, the stats between Tatum and Doncic are very, very similar. But Luka Doncic is definitely the number one point of attack for defenses to be looking at, and he's a big-time shot taker, big-time shot maker. I think he's absolutely a threat to take on a series essentially by himself and score the Mavericks all the way to a championship. I'm scared of that because great players take over in scenarios like this.
Yeah. I mean, I when you look at the roster, it's like, if you're just looking literally technical here, there is no brainer the Celtics will win the finals because of who they have and what they've done.
Yeah, they've built the roster to where they don't have to have the undisputed best player on the floor because they have probably the next 5 best.
And we've said that since day one. They have the best starting 6 in the NBA. Yep. However, it scares the hell out of me because it comes down to literally Eastern Conference and Western Conference. And it's just so drastically different that it's hard. It's really hard to break down, is this team ready to face a team of that caliber?
It's a great question. Drew Cash, we'll throw that up on the mailbag, no doubt. So right now we have 2 Super Chat questions which get first priority, no doubt about it. And then we have about 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 questions. Which one did you type that in? Okay. I don't know why this one didn't update that.
That's weird.
Okay, cool. Nice. So we have actually like 8 questions. So we have enough now. That's fantastic. You guys did a great job. We really appreciate the effort and the care that you guys take into helping us out here on the channel.
Oh yeah. All right, I made a little way in there too. All right. So I am whenever you're ready, I'll be ready. Cuz this is going out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I set up Western Conference team. Corker saying, I will never forgive Kyrie for stomping on Lucky's face. It's revenge time, baby. This would be the last. This would be the last stop. It's not as a stomp though, Corker. This man took his foot and he stomped it, and then he kind of like squished it, and then swiped it off.
Yeah,
wiped it off.
It's like he was like it was like he was killing a snail.
Looked like he was kicking dog shit off his shoe.
Yeah, that's honestly what it was.
Killing
it was like
a snail?
Yeah.
When do you step on snails?
I don't know. Some people do. Mean people. Yeah, he smeared it. That's a good word to use.
Killing a snail. Oh, Jesus. All
right, let's get into this mailbag here in just a moment.
I definitely would like to have Kyrie, and I do think they have the capability since they took the Timberwolves twice, but those weren't easy games for the Mavericks to just like come into Minnesota and take away. That was a 2 tight games, so I'm excited to see what Luka and Kyrie can do here in Game 5 tonight. It would be really nice to know who we're playing as soon as possible. But in the end, I'm down for a good series as well because, like Smitty said, the more they play each other, the more the Celtics are, kicking their feet up and getting to relax. And by relax, not playing an actual basketball game. KW, personally, I am more afraid of Wolves because they have meh offense, which means they are consistently getting to 105 or so because they have a high floor and a really low ceiling. Andrea's saying Brown will shut up Luka. Yeah, Beantown saying the only thing I'm worried about is Mav centers. How I'm looking at it is, yes, you may not have KP for Game 1, and that sucks. But I highly doubt they're going to keep him out the entire series. My only fear is that we have seen this continuously throughout the postseason. Giannis was out to questionable ahead of their elimination game, ended up never playing. And then after the series was over, he came on to the media stand and said, I wasn't even close to returning. So I'm afraid that they are never going to officially rule out KP. And they're still saying, I don't know, because they're trying not to lie. And KP's actually done. That's my biggest fear. Because we also saw that with Jarrett Allen. Jarrett Allen was a game-time decision for every single game in the postseason. He was only ruled out briefly ahead of every single matchup.
He was never playing.
But then, Smitty and I would talk ahead of the Cavs game, and we're like, Jarrett Allen's questionable again, so, you never know. So, it just makes, and they did that with, Kleber. Kleber actually was questionable ahead of multiple games, and now he did finally come back in Game 4. So, my only fear is that the Celtics know something that we don't, and they haven't told us yet. But I do think he will not play Game 1, and he will play at some point in this series. And I'm trying to be as optimistic as I can. Because, God help him, we need Kristaps Porzingis so bad. And if I hear another analyst saying we're completely healthy, is BS. It's BS. Sorry we have a pretty good depth chart, but we're not healthy, okay? We're not healthy. Drew Cash in, if we can limit their superstars consistently, we can win the series. I think we can win the series regardless. I mean, we beat the Mavericks twice. We split with the Timberwolves in the regular season, and I know what you're saying, it's the regular season. I actually have a whole video on the Celtics if they do happen to take on the Mavericks because their stat lines are pretty insane when they played in this regular season. All right. We are ready to roll for our mailbag here. Once again, this is all live, so this is how our show looks like when we make it. Feel free to keep super chatting, keep commenting, follow along with us as we break down our mailbag here in just a few seconds. We're going to be answering our questions, your questions, and all the questions about the Boston Celtics here on our mailbag version of Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Allie Barefoot, and I'm not just on YouTube. No, I am on every social media platform out there that is appropriate. With that being said, I am on Twitter as well. Follow me on X. I'm not calling it, I hate X. Follow me on Twitter. The OGs know. I post the latest Celtics news, Celtics memes, Celtics highlights, and the first 10 people that follow me will get a shout out on our next watch party, which will be the NBA Finals on June 6th, 1 week away. We are playing on Thursday of next week. So hit me up on Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. I know you guys DM me as well, telling me how much you love the channel, how much you love the Celtics. I'm okay with that as well. I'd love to talk with you guys off of YouTube. Hit me up on Twitter. Go on ahead and give me a follow. Boston Bob coming in here with a huge question that I was talking to Smitty and I was like, I feel like we don't really appreciate Jrue Holiday enough on this show, which is unfortunate because Smitty and I both really appreciate Jrue Holiday. Hashtag Celtics, what does Jrue need to do to be a factor in the finals? Jrue Holiday, if they play the Dallas Mavericks, may have the most important job on the floor. One of the most important jobs. And that would be guarding Kyrie Irving. And that's going to be a very tough task there for Jrue Holiday. I cannot express how smart Jrue Holiday is. His basketball IQ and his court vision continues to amaze me every single game. The number one thing that Jrue Holiday needs to focus on is defense and continue doing what he is doing. Constantly stealing the ball. He's constantly switching off of screens. He makes the job a little bit easier for the Celtics on defense, but he's also been a huge treat to the Boston Celtics on offense as well. We saw him put up a career-high 28 points in this postseason already. He's also been a very sneaky scorer when it comes to around the three-point line. He's not afraid to drive. I've seen him a lot taking ISO balls, dribbling a little bit, and then he'll pull up with a nice power bounce. Or he can also score off dribble, which is extremely impressive here for Jrue Holiday. I think he needs to continue, number one, on his defensive side. That is, switching off screens is what I think is going to be huge here if they do end up playing a team without Kristaps Porzingis, because the last thing you want is a mismatch. So I think Jrue has a huge part in helping the Boston Celtics win the NBA Finals, and I'm really excited to see what he has in store. KW coming in as well, hashtag Celtics. Which finals challenge scares you more? The Wolves' ability to defend every Celtic on the floor, or how hard Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving are to guard for White and Jrue? I'm going to take this from the standpoint of playing the Mavericks because they are up 3-1 right now in this series. It's going to be a lot longer journey for the Timberwolves to make it to the finals. So with the Mavericks, I am very scared of Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, as I should be. They are two of the best ball players still left in the NBA. However, you do have two all-defensive players on your front court, on your backcourt for the Boston Celtics here, being able to take them on. I do think they're playmakers. I think they have a lot of resemblance in Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum in our duo as well. I do think, however, I think it's going to be a lot harder for Jrue Holiday and Derek White to guard Luka Doncic and Kyrie than it will be for the Boston Celtics to take on the Timberwolves. And Smitty, feel free to jump in if you think I'm saying anything wrong here, but knowing what Kyrie and Luka can do, not just as scorers, not just as ball handlers, but playmakers, does scare me because there were several games here where I saw Jrue Holiday get stuck on a screen. I saw several plays where Derek White had a mismatch. That just wasn't the best opportunity for the Celtics on defense. And when you've got players like Luka and Kyrie, who we have seen can score from everywhere on the court and make plays that could lead the Celtics here in the dust, I think majority of the time they kept the pace against the Pacers. But I think if you are to play down to Luka and Kyrie, it is going to be a puddle for the Boston Celtics. Smitty, if there's anything I'm saying that you disagree with, feel free to jump in.
No, nothing I necessarily disagree with. I just think that the talk of the matchup between Luka Doncic and the Celtic guards might be a little too ahead of people. Like, people might be thinking too far ahead. Jaylen Brown guarded Luka Doncic in the regular season, and I think that matchup with him being a stronger player to have to move past and to have to try to get shots up over and to have to try to back down into the paint. Jaylen Brown will likely be the primary defender on Luka Doncic, and I think that's going to be a great matchup. I think there will be times when Derek White gets moved on to him, maybe even Jrue Holiday gets moved on to him, but I think it's kind of a mismatch for Luka, because Luka's taller than those guys. He's more filled out than those guys. He's got bigger mass. So I personally think that Jaylen Brown's going to have to carry a lot of that responsibility. Then White and Holiday will be tag teaming on Kyrie and Luka there. So it's going to be a tough defensive matchup no matter what. These are two of the best shot makers, clutchest players, just carry on your back type of guys in the NBA. It's going to be a tough defensive matchup no matter what, but I think Brown is up for the challenge.
I think he is too, and of course, just like the Celtics, those are not the only resources the Mavericks have, being Luka and Kyrie. Of course, they got Washington, they got Gaffer, they might even have Lively back as well, so it's going to be a full team effort here, and I do think the Celtics are trying to prepare for both outcomes right now while they do have to wait to see who they'll play. We are live for every single Celtics game this postseason, including every single NBA Finals game as well, but after that, once season's over, we'll have a live show just like this, just like we had every week throughout the offseason. So go on ahead and hit that sub button for it if you guys have not already. We currently have 31,300, and we currently need 700 more to reach 32K. Thank you guys so much for all of your support so far. If you haven't already, hit that sub button. Help us grow this channel, as this is the #1 source for your Celtics information on YouTube. Hello? Smitty?
Who's that?
Who's that? Smitty's burner coming in saying, will Porzingis play in the NBA Finals? #Celtics. This is the biggest topic surrounding the Boston Celtics heading to the Finals. I do not think Kristaps Porzingis will play Game 1. Maybe not even play Game 2. The beauty of the Finals, though, is that there are 2, sometimes 3 days in between these games. It's not a one-on, one-off type of thing that they just dealt with in the Eastern Conference Finals. Do I think KP will play at some point in the Finals? Yes. Do I think he will play Game 1? No. But we will keep you guys updated here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. That's why you guys subscribe. Any update we get on Kristaps Porzingis, we have it right here to give you guys the latest. Drew Cash coming in as well. Y'all ready to face Kyrie Irving, and do you have as much disdain for him as the rest of Celtics fans do?
Kyrie Irving.
I'm here now. My bad. I thought it was just a typo. But Kyrie Irving, I hope that's exactly what he is doing. I have not forgotten about the stomp on Lucky's face. The stomp, the twist, and the wipe on Lucky's face. I think Kyrie Irving is a baller. I think he is a theatrical type of player. He will come into TD Garden and try to take over it because that is the type of player that he is. He also has the skill set to be able to do so. So I think while as much Celtics fans you show disdain to Kyrie Irving, because I don't think that was the best spot for him to be, that was not the best stop at all. But I do think that the Boston Celtics have to shut him up for Celtics fans. With that being said, let me tell you real quick how you guys can rep the freshest gear in TD Garden for the NBA Finals. We are 1 week away, and if you guys want the latest merch, this is the shirt, if I'm not mistaken, that the Boston Celtics players were wearing after they clinched the Eastern Conference Finals title, beating the Indiana Pacers, when they're all standing around, spraying Bud Light, spraying all their stuff. It's a fresh shirt, man. And I understand it's gray, it can be sweating sometimes, but hey, it's why you wear undershirts, it's all good. Plus, in TD Garden, you don't have to worry about sweating. So, with that being said, right now, you guys can go get your Celtics Eastern Conference Finals shirt for 2024 by going to chatsports.com/CelticsECF. One more time, chatsports.com/CelticsECF. That's how you guys are going to be able to get this type of merch. You can wear this to Patriots games. You can wear this to Red Sox games. It does not matter. Wear it to your favorite Boston outing by getting your Eastern Conference NBA shirt right now. Oscar coming in, #Celtics. Do you think Hauser will turn it around in the Finals? I hope so. Holy cow, I hope so. It's unfortunate because a player like Hauser, I do think that he has limited himself to very few skill sets in the NBA. I do think he's a very sneaky good defender. I have learned to not hold my breath when he is guarding a defender because I know that he can get that job done. But when it comes to offense, his only responsibility on the Celtics is to catch and shoot. And if he can't do that, I think he's a liability. Because when he's not shooting, yes, he can get back on defense. And yes, he provides good stops. He's really good at keeping defenders in front of him. But in terms of stealing, in terms of offensive rebounding, in terms of block, not so much. And especially if his offense isn't hitting, I have seen other players that I personally think should get more playing time, one of those being O'Shea Brissett. So I think Hauser will turn it around at least for one game in the finals. If he doesn't, Brad Stevens is going to have to ask himself a really tough question this offseason. Scottish Cabbage, do you think the C's will win without KP? I do. I do think they will win without Kristaps Porzingis. They went 10-1 without Kristaps Porzingis throughout the NBA postseason so far. They have the resources. They're still just as good. They are a lot better with Kristaps Porzingis, but because they have had so many reps without him now, that I do think KP coming back in is only going to make them that much better. I have the utmost faith here in the Boston Celtics without Kristaps Porzingis, but do I want him back? Absolutely. But there are some concerns. I'm not going to say that I'm going to say that without any kind of worry in the back of my mind. Yes, I am worried about playing an Western Conference team without Kristaps Porzingis. I'm worried about them playing a Western Conference team with Kristaps Porzingis. It's been known that it is the tougher conference, and it has been known that it is a very intense type of play. So my question to you guys is, are you worried about facing a Western Conference team here in the NBA Finals? We knew they were going to come out on top in the East. There's a reason why they had double digits ahead of number 2 in the Eastern Conference in the regular season. This was the script. And now they're done with the Eastern Conference. But you do have a whole other side of the NBA that I think is a lot tougher. Hello? Allie's burner. Should O'Shea Brissett get more playing time in the NBA Finals? That's a great question, Allie's burner. I wonder who came up with this question. You sound like a genius. Yes, I do. And this is what I was talking about. Obviously not like a starter, that kind of minutes, anything like that. But there were times when they played the Pacers that I'm like, I don't want Hauser in. Hauser is a liability on defense and offense right now, and it was not helping, especially when you really had to give your starter some minutes here. I loved what O'Brizzy had to do. I thought that he came in, immediately was rebounding. He put a dunk up there. You had Rick Carlisle saying this guy is going to be good. I think you are mistaken if you do not put O'Shea Brissett in some of these rotations, because there were some rotations, with Sam Hauser included, that were not getting the job done for the Celtics. I would not be surprised if they were in the minus while they were on the floor. I think O'Shea Brissett has earned more minutes. I'm not talking anything crazy, probably single digits, but I do think if you want to give some players some rest, O'Brizzy would probably be one of the first players I would pull off the bench, in my opinion. Boston Bob coming in here. Hashtag Celtics, which bench player are we looking to make the biggest impact? Put some respect on his name. Peyton Pritchard needs to do the damn thing. I have loved how PP has grown. I think he has made himself a 3-level type of scorer. I think he's aggressive. He's scrappy. He's fast. I think he could be a good matchup against Kyrie Irving if they play the Mavericks while Jrue rests. Obviously, they can work on that as well. Obviously, it's not going to be as good a defense as Jrue Holiday would against a player like that. But in terms of speed, I think Peyton Pritchard has a lot more responsibility than people give him credit for. Not to mention, he can make threes. He can score baskets when the Celtics need a spark. That is something I have noticed. Not to mention a little half-court buzzer beaters here and there is also really good. PP comes in. The second he clocks in, there's no adjustments. It is, I play fast. I play hard. From the minute he checks in to the minute he checks out, PP seems like he's always ready to go. That's who I'm looking at to make a difference off the bench. As always, give me a follow on Twitter if you guys want to talk about Boston Celtics a little bit more outside of YouTube. I'll DM you. I'll tweet back at you. As always, follow me on Twitter. My handle is @ARBarefoot. Go on ahead. Show me some love. Shout out to Boston Bob there. Coming in with a $10 super chat as well. Jeez, it's my bad. Boston Bob saying, here's a question. Are you guys aware that you have the best damn live show anywhere? Can't wait for next Thursday, Boston Bob. A man that knows.
Shout out to you.
A man that knows.
Let's go see.
A man that knows. We love you, Boston
Next
Bob.
Thursday's going to be a movie, my man.
Tell your friends, BB. Weston. Uchia.
Weston?
Uchia?
Uchia is how I would probably say it.
I'm going to take the time to read the last names
right.
now. Hashtag Celtics, which scares you more, Kyrie or Luka, and why? Probably
Luka for me.
I was going to say Luka. I am afraid of at least one game in TD Garden with Kyrie.
Yeah, there's going to be one game where Kyrie goes for 30-some.
Yeah.
And Kyrie's been kind of holding back that 30 ball.
He's saving it.
His prize pick lines are usually set around 22, 24.
I do think that they lost Game 4 because Irving didn't have the game that he was supposed to.
Yeah.
Not the only reason, obviously, but it could have prevented that. Luka was giving his all, man. He was making half-court buzzer beaters trying to get this thing going.
Kyrie's been a fantastic number 2. I think he's done a great job at understanding that he's not a number 1 option on a championship team, and he's become a much better, more productive player on both ends, to be honest. Playing off ball on offense, and defensively, he's playing the best defense of his career right now in Dallas. So I'm definitely looking to see if Kyrie is going to take that next step, scoring the basketball, getting over 30, maybe 35, 40 points. That would be a detrimental thing to happen to the Celtics if Kyrie just starts lighting them up from distance.
I personally think it's inevitable because here's what I've seen from the Celtics so far in the postseason is that they did allow the Pacers to stay in the game, not win the series, but in the game by letting them have open shots, whether that was from the mid-range, whether that was from the three-point line, and we all know Kyrie Irving does his best job when he's wide open. And I am nervous that if you don't have Kristaps Porzingis, it does seem like the Celtics don't read screens as much as they normally do. And so having a player like a Tyler Hero, a Kyrie Irving, a Tyrese Halliburton, a Donovan Mitchell, completely wide open has been detrimental to the Celtics throughout this postseason. So I am afraid that at least one game in TD Garden, Kyrie is going to have his way with the Celtics defense.
Yeah, and Kyrie's an excellent mid-range pull-up shooter as well, and the Celtics, like you said, have been inviting teams to take shots from the mid-range with them playing drop coverage. They're kind of they're kind of playing the analytics here as the postseason rolls on. With we're going to shoot more threes than you. You can have all the mid-ranges you want, and we'll bank on you to miss a couple. So I understand the thought process behind it. But giving guys free baskets is never something that I'm a huge fan of. But again, 3-point variance, it keeps becoming a prominent point in determining who wins these games. And if the Celtics want to play that game if you can beat us with 2s 4 straight times, maybe you deserve to win the championship. But we're going to take our chances with the numbers and take our shots in 3 and let you take those shots in the mid range and down low.
What is your say it's Mavericks? What's your prediction?
I do think it's the Celtics in 6.
Celtics in 6
would be my guess. Yeah, I think it could even be Celtics in 5. But I would have to go Celtics in 6 if there was a what to my head.
I think I'm gonna go. They'll win the first game, and because they'll have the most rest, they'll lose the second.
Yeah, it'll be 1-1. It'll be 1-1 going to Dallas. I'm going to freak out.
I think it'll be 1-1 going to Dallas. If they may lose the first one, win the second one. I think they take both Dallas games.
The Celtics take both Dallas games?
I think they take both Dallas games.
I don't think the Mavs have this crazy home court advantage that are super tough to play there.
I've never been to the American Airlines Center. You have?
Yeah. I watched the Celtics play there this year. I saw one of the finals previews.
What is the atmosphere like in American Airlines?
It's good. I mean, the Celtics did control that game for the most part. I also went to a playoff game when they played the Clippers there in the first round, so I saw that atmosphere, which was it's not TD Garden, and maybe TD Garden hasn't been as great this postseason. Now, some people might argue that ESPN's fiddling with the audio and trying to make it seem like not as good of an atmosphere, but I can tell you straight up, even on the TNT games that we had earlier in the postseason, that TD Garden was not as loud as it typically is, whether that's due to price points, just pricing real fans out of the arena, or what have you. But TD Garden is known to be an electric playoff atmosphere, up there with the ranks of Oklahoma City, up there with the ranks of the Knicks and Madison Square Garden. Dallas, I think it's good, not great. I don't think it's quite on that tier of OKC, New York, and Boston.
Right.
Even Miami. It's probably on the tier with Miami, to be honest.
Well, Miami's there for the party. Yeah. So Miami's
They don't get there till halftime.
Miami's going to be loud just because I think the city's naturally loud.
Yeah.
And they've got all the entertainment going on there. But in Dallas, I've never been to American Airlines.
I'm not going to lie. Outside of Jeffrey Cooperstein, there's just, in my mind, Dallas Mavericks diehards don't exist. It's not like this, oh my God, if I'm going to lose sleep about the Mavs. I don't think that's the case here.
Yeah, it's not like, Knicks versus Celtics
no,
type. Yeah,
no,
where it's battle of the bands.
Knicks fans and Celtics are literally pulling their hair out.
They make it personal.
It's bad.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
Mavs. I don't think really have that culture with basketball.
I think all their fans are Cowboys fans.
Yeah, they care about the Cowboys more.
They care about the Cowboys,
and that's okay. You can care about a losing organization more. Go right ahead.
The only reason why I say that is because we know the Celtics play better on the road, and I do think
in the face of adversity.
Yes, and I do think that when it comes to intense arenas, and this is just me speculating because I've never been to American Airlines Center, I don't ever recall anybody saying, "Oh man, Dallas Mavericks arena is crazy," blah blah blah. It's not like MSG, the most popular arena in the world, for a reason. So I do think they'll take both games on the road in Dallas, Game 3 and Game 4. I do think they will lose one out of the possible 3 if you win in 5. I think they'll at least lose one at home.
Yeah, I mean they haven't been. They're 500. They're nearly 500 right now. I think that stat was taken before the Pacers series, but they're literally 500 with Joe Mazzulla as head coach in the postseason at home, which is kind of concerning, but they make up for it on the road, I guess. Well,
the good news is that the pressure's not on us; it's on the Boston Celtics to do the damn thing. So we are going to talk about here in our last segment of our live show. Here is the pressure more so on Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown. The reason why we unfortunately have to talk about this is because the media, in my opinion, has now created this type of storyline that Tatum and Brown have to decide who's number one, and that's not true. They can both thrive with very similar skill sets, and the fact that they've proven that time and time again, as this is now their second trip to the finals in 6 years. So I want to talk about who the pressure's more so on, and at the very end of the show, I just basically tell you, go F yourself. The duo is the duo for a reason.
That's right.
So let's go ahead and jump into that. Feel free to comment, super chat, everything. We'll talk to you guys once we are done with this cut here, talking about the pressure on Tatum or Brown. We're talking about whether or not there is more pressure on Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Allie Barefoot, and we are so close to the NBA Finals that I've been seeing a lot on media that it's got to be Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Forgetting this duo has been very successful despite adding a piece of hardware to their jewelry box throughout their time in Boston. So I want to break down where the pressure really lies and how can they overcome it. But like I said, we are under a week away from the NBA Finals. Go on ahead and hit that subscribe button for me if you guys have not. We will be live for every single Boston Celtics basketball game. And we're actually having live shows throughout the offseason. So I want you guys to know everything there is to know about your Boston Celtics. Hit that sub button. Help us grow this community. Let me tell you what you should know about Jaylen Brown so far this season, what he has won. He did win the 2024 Eastern Conference Finals MVP. There were some conversations that he possibly got snubbed from all NBA defensive teams and the all NBA team, first team, second team, and third team. And I know that is very speculation, but in my opinion, I do think that he got snubbed from possibly making a third team type of all NBA accolade. But when it comes to the all-defensive team, maybe not. I have seen a lot of defensive plays here in the postseason so far, but maybe not throughout the regular season. And he was an all-star reserve, and he did participate in the dunk contest. So Jaylen Brown has won quite a few things here for himself in his career. But in terms of 2023-24, obviously the most notable was the most recent one, Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Jayson Tatum, however, has been doing this. He is more so the superstar of the Celtics. If you ask anybody in Boston who's the face of the franchise, they're going to say Jayson Tatum. And that's okay. You can have a face of the franchise. You should have a face of the franchise. He's a 3-time first-team All-NBA. He had that selection once more this year. And he also had the selection this year to be an all-star starter, which did make his 5th time being an all-time starter, all-star starter. And he lost by 1 vote for the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And when Jaylen Brown did take that award, which, let me tell you, I watched it live. I saw the pure shock on his face, the audible jaw drop, if you will, when they said Jaylen Brown is the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He said, I wasn't expecting that at all. I don't ever win shit. And I don't blame him. It's hard to win the type of accolades that Jayson Tatum is winning because he's on your team. If he was anywhere else, he would obviously be the face of the franchise, the superstar, and there is still debate that he isn't the face of the franchise and the superstar on the Boston Celtics. I think that the two are so great together because they have such similar skill sets. it makes it that much more difficult for opponents to defend the Boston Celtics, because if you go and put Jaylen Brown on, let's say, the Houston Rockets, he becomes the number 1 overall. Obviously, you're going to be preparing to face Jaylen Brown. That puts a bigger target on Jayson Tatum's back. Vice versa, they just complement each other so well. Here's what they've done so far in the postseason for their stats. They played 14 games. Tatum averaging 27 points per game, but Jaylen Brown averaging 25. Obviously, the rebounding will be more so in Jayson Tatum's favor. That's what he has titled himself for the Boston Celtics, as a leader for the rebounds. The assists, also, I do think he's more of a playmaker, just a little bit more here than Jaylen Brown, obviously, was facilitating the basketball. They're shooting about roughly the same from the field, with Brown taking more shots than Tatum has been. And same thing from the three-point percentage line, about the same. These are two players you want to work in synchronized type of systems. You do not want these guys to be one-on-one or on different teams or against each other. They are best when they're playing together. But that doesn't mean the pressure is not higher for one player than the other. So far in those 14 games throughout the postseason, who do you guys think has performed better? In my opinion, I think Jaylen Brown has performed better, which is a very hard thing for me to say, because if you look at the box score, yeah, you can make the case Jayson Tatum has more points, more rebounds, more assists. He's leading the Celtics in every category in this postseason. But for Jaylen Brown, you can also make the argument for clutch time. You can make the argument for defensive plays, for offensive snappiness. It's very different what their two roles are. Type JT for Tatum, type JB for Brown. All right, let me tell you guys real quick about Prize Picks, number 1 daily fantasy sports app in America. And let me tell you why I'm playing it every single day that I possibly can. I have won over 15 entries, and I've won over $500 playing the number 1 daily fantasy sports app. It's so easy to play. It's also a lot of fun as well. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week, from lowering select player stat projections on Tuesdays, aka Taco Tuesdays, which increases your chance of getting a win, to getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays, aka Flex Fridays. Prize Picks is America's number 1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. All you got to do is pick more or less on a player's projected stats, and you could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can pick minimum 2 players, maximum 6 players, and what I love about Prize Picks is that they're not biased. You want to combine MLB, NHL, NBA, WNBA all together? You can absolutely do so. You guys can go ahead and test your skills on prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. All you guys have to do to win up to 100 times your money is pick more or less. I promise it is that easy to watch yourself win some real money in real time. I personally think Jayson Tatum has more pressure on him. I think Jayson Tatum has been a bigger name in Boston and the NBA for a longer time than Jaylen Brown has. I think Jaylen Brown is a fantastic ball player. And when I say Tatum has more pressure on him, that is no slight to Jaylen Brown's skill set. I think he's a great basketball player. But for Tatum, he has taken on the role of being the face of the franchise. He has. And that's a big responsibility, because JT has recently, in the last couple of years, been in MVP conversations. Jayson Tatum has been in, is he the new face of the franchise type of conversations. And those are very select few players that get to be in those type of conversations. And I think Jayson Tatum's stats do back up his accolades in order to be able to be in that type of setting. But the only thing is, Jayson Tatum, to be the MVP, in my opinion, to be the face of the franchise, he needs the ring. He needs the ring to elevate his status. Jaylen Brown needs the ring to become more trustworthy, to become more respected in the NBA by opponents, in my opinion. But I can also see it on the other chip that Jaylen Brown is the highest paid player in the NBA right now. So there could be a lot of speculation if they don't win. What are you paying Jaylen Brown for? He can't get you a ring. There's conversations about this in quarterbacks, conversations about this in home run hitters, conversations about this now in potentially your number 2 in Boston, who is the highest paid player in NBA. If he can't help you get a ring, why is he worth all that money? I can see that pressure rising above Jaylen Brown said that Jayson Tatum can't touch because he's not in that category just yet. But Alan Hahn actually broke this down in a way that I couldn't summarize it better myself. Here's what he had to say on NBC Sports Boston, and he also said on Get Up ESPN. They're under two different pressures. I think for Jayson Tatum, it's the pressure to prove that he's a winner, and that's been the question around Jayson Tatum is whether or not he can win like the greats, like Larry Legend. For Jaylen Brown, it's the pressure to prove that he's an equal and that he belongs among the elite mention among them. So Jaylen Brown, in my opinion, is not necessarily in the Jayson Tatum conversations just yet. Not saying he shouldn't be, but that's just how it is. He's not in the media the same way Jayson Tatum is. And the media has been taking that to the next level, in my opinion. Holy cow. They're pinning the two against each other, which is what you don't do. You want to talk about Tatum if he's doing enough to win you the finals? That's fine. That's a whole different conversation. But what you're not going to do is say that Jayson Tatum's not happy for his teammate that finally won an NBA Eastern Conference Finals MVP when Tatum won it back in 2022. They took this picture and said Tatum was not happy for his teammate. They showed a picture of him smiling and said, yeah, no, I just don't think he's happy for his teammate the way that he should be. Look at everybody else. They're smiling, they're happy, they're laughing. Tatum has done nothing but support his brother on the court. He was even in the dunk contest with him as a piece to help him try to win that award. Tatum does not give a shit about any award except for NBA Final. And I may be speaking for him, but I guess if you were to ask him, that's probably what he would say. It's always been the Jays against the world. They've had the same handshake since 2018. They've been doing the damn thing for several years together. And now all of a sudden the narrative has switched to, well, you can't have two superstars in your team. Watch them. Watch them. Watch them win the NBA Finals with two superstars in their team. And then come back to me. Can the Jays lead Celtics to banner 18? I know the question around the media recently has been, can Tatum lead the NBA? Can Jaylen Brown step up and be the highest paid player in the NBA? No. Can the Jays do this together? Comment why or why not in the comment section down below. While you guys are at it, hit that sub button for me if you haven't already. We'll be live for every single Boston Celtics basketball game for the NBA Finals, and I want you to be along there with us. Hit that subscribe button for me. I promise you guys will not regret it. All right. All right, well.
Those are our segments.
That's our segments. That's our first live show. Thank you guys so much for all your super chats, for hanging out with us in here as well. Thank you for taking time out of your Thursday afternoon to be a part of this. Obviously, we're going to have to wait and see what the Mavericks and Timberwolves do tonight to be able to determine where the Celtics are kind of standing in their opponents for the NBA Finals. But I'm excited. I'll be watching that game. A lot's riding on that game, and obviously we hope both teams do stay healthy tonight. So we'll keep you guys updated weekly, daily on Kristaps Porzingis, updated weekly, daily on storylines heading into the NBA Finals, and as always, we'll be live for every single Boston Celtics basketball game. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And Smitty, if you don't have anything else to say, I think
we're out of here.
And we're out of here.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, a little hour and 15-minute show. Thank you guys for hopping in. Hopefully this helped you guys on your shift at work or on your way back home or whatever you guys do in your daily lives. Thanks for spending it with us. As always, before you guys head out, be sure to hit that sub button for me, and we'll see you guys next time.